Hey, what's up, everyone? It's Nathan, and I have a very special video for you guys today because I'm bringing on a very special guest, Shaqir Hussyin. And I want to go over just a couple of things before I bring him on because this guy has absolutely killed the game, rags to riches, and he's going to provide a lot of value right here today. So you're going to want to watch this entire video. But so Shaqir, let me just tell you a little bit about this guy, all right? He's a 2-X winner, but not just one, but times 2. So if you guys know about ClickFunnels, he'll share a little bit more about that here in just a minute. Over $30 million in sales before he was 30 years old. He's the founder of wealthacademy.com, the creator of funnels.com, and he's also the author of the best-selling book, Backpack Millionaire. Shaqir, welcome. How are you?
I'm doing great. Thank you so much for this special invitation. I know you don't do these things often, but you said you wanted to do something really spectacular and really special. So hopefully I can live up to it. And so I'm excited. Again, thanks so much for inviting me here. I'm very grateful, and I'm ready to get the show on the road.
Yes, it's awesome to have you here. I know that my audience here and people will definitely get value of your story and what you have to offer. So I want to just ask you some questions here. Hopefully this will provide some value to people and kind of get an idea of who you are and where your journey to where you are now. So, I mean, obviously, so people understand, I kind of said it in the intro, but before 30 years old, over 30 million in sales. This is kind of more recently of some of the successes you've had. But what led up to this? Where did you kind of get your start in this?
You know, I got my start when I was 21 years old. Like most people, I got so attracted to the idea of working from home, making money online, learning digital marketing, right? And so I was 21 years old and I went to my first ever seminar. And at that seminar, I was taught to go to school, go to college, go to university, get a degree, work for 20 years, especially being a brown Asian kid. You know, my parents said, accountant, doctor, or lawyer. And I was like, investment banking sounds like I can make a lot of money. I choose investment banking. Well, the thing is, in my final year of university, I remember going there, and at the time I was morbidly obese, and I wasn't overweight. I was next level morbidly obese with long greasy hair. I used to wear like double XL clothing so that people won't kind of, I could always blend in the background, which I don't think that worked because I was really overweight. And with that, I didn't have a lot of confidence, right? So I didn't really get excited by the idea of going to get a job or talking to people. I just wanted to stay at home, make money. I wanted to stay at home and learn how this internet stuff worked. And I go to this conference and I see all these guys get on stage and they have this rags to riches story. And for me, at the beginning, I was so skeptical because my parents and my friends and family said, don't go to these things. No, they're going to try and sell you stuff. And I just went in and I said, what if there's a new reality? Like, what if there's another way? Like, you know what I mean? There's another way of like living life. Because the people around me, they were educated, they had great jobs, but like none of them were rich or none of them were like financially free. You know what I mean? And so I was confused as to no one seems to be very happy, even if they went to school, college, university, and they got a degree and they got a great job and they're making 50, 60 grand a year. So my journey led to me going to these seminars. And at that moment, I realized these guys and girls on stage, because they had shared their story of where they came from, in my mind, I realized I could do the same. Like they don't look like they have special magical personalities. They don't look like they have 12 fingers or something different, right? There's nothing different.
Yeah.
And I was like, if he can do it, so can I. And I never ever forget this one memory of this one guy getting on stage. He was 27 years old and I was 21. And he gets on stage and he talks about how he grew up in East London, an area that I grew up in, and how he started from absolutely nothing. And then how he went on to generate over $100,000 in a single day, right? And for me, I don't know about you, but for me, when I was 21, and if you made 100 grand a year, you are successful. Okay, you were in the top echelon. You know, I thought basically people that were like doctors or super smart people would be earning that sort of money. When I saw this gentleman, I was like, I don't know what he's doing. As long as it looks legit, it looks ethical, I need to go figure out what he's doing. And that path led me to learning about affiliate marketing. And I remember the day I was sitting in my dad's friend's basement. He had he's a real estate guy, a real estate agent guy, and he had an office, and downstairs was the basement. And I could use the basement for free because it was my dad's friend. And I used to refer to him as uncle. And I never forget, I get this email from these two American dudes, a guy called Jay and Aaron. And they sent this email saying, come to Las Vegas and rub shoulders with millionaires. Right? And you have to understand, like, YouTube wasn't that big. So the people that were on YouTube, they were like, phew, celebrities. And Jay and Aaron were celebrities in my eyes. And they said, if you come to Las Vegas, you can rub shoulders with millionaires. Now, all I remember was rub shoulders with millionaires and $1,500 because I was working out on Expedia. I think it was Expedia, how much it would cost. And I was like, there's no way I can afford that. And I called up the only friend I had. And I said, I know you've got money. You need to lend me $1,500. Okay, or 1,500 pounds. And he's like, what is it for? I said, I'm going to Las Vegas. And I told all my family, all of the few people that were around me, and they said, this sounds like the craziest thing ever. You know, people go and gamble there. Why are you going there? And I said, these guys are doing this conference and this internet millionaires. I got to be around these people. I went there as a wet behind the ears newbie. I didn't even know what an autoresponder was. And I remember going there. I had bought myself a cheap 40 pound, like a $55 blazer, just so I could look successful, right? Because I thought, I'm going to a conference. It's my first ever real big conference overseas. And it's the first time I'm going into America, to Las Vegas. And I remember going there and meeting everyday average people. And some of these people were millionaires. And for me, Nathan, right, I was like, it was like a new world. It was like, who are these people? How on earth are they making all this money? And it just made me fall in love with this idea of I can place tiny little ads all over the internet and I can make money. And I remember coming back from there. I was in that room. I was there completely broke, completely new. And I made an intention that next year I want to be on stage. Now I have no idea how I was going to get there. No idea.
Yeah.
The next year, actually that year, I did around 120K. So my first 9 months I was floundering around, but then I made 20K, then I made 275K, and then in my third year, I made $1.2 million.
Wow.
I was maybe 23, maybe 24, 23, 24. And immediately I went from 2.4 to $1.2 million to $2.4 million to $3.6 million to $6.5 million to close to $8 million and beyond. And that just changed my life forever, right? And I was in my, let's just say mid-20s. Now I made a lot of mistakes. I learned a lot of hard lessons, and maybe we can talk about that as well, because sometimes when you learn from a multimillionaire, you get the highlight reel. And although that's great, you actually get to learn more about someone who's gone through a cycle, who's failed a few times, who's been punched in the face a few times. And so that's my story. And you can basically pick out whatever lessons you want.
Yeah, that's awesome. So yeah, I want to kind of touch on what you were talking about, because I had a very similar experience, and that was things didn't really start to get real for making money online, starting a business, and really the opportunity to change your life financially until, like what you said, I went to a live event. And I was around these people who I was following as well, starstruck. Oh my God, you know, and then realizing kind of what you touched on is that we're all people. We're all just people that make different decisions. But when you understand that these people they're no different than you, except they're making different decisions. And that was, for me, one of my breakthroughs. And so I want you to kind of touch on that. What would you say to someone who is maybe started this kind of, or looking into this online business? And I know there's lots of different business models, and not that specifically, but the power of being in person next to someone.
So there's this concept that just flew out my mind. But there's this concept which is like, your brain doesn't necessarily know what's real and what's not real. So for example, if you read a book by a billionaire, Richard Branson, your brain doesn't actually know if you're just reading the book or if they're right next to you. And so the whole idea is, whatever you surround yourself with is what you become. Who you learn from is who you become like. And for me, I took that and I thought, well, I don't have any people that were around me that were, rich and wealthy and millionaires, because that's all I wanted to be when I started out internet marketing. How do I make $1 million and how do I become a millionaire? But then I realized that even if I'm learning from them on webinars and courses and books and coaching and seminars and all of this stuff, and then being able to meet them, my brain, it could normalize it. Does that make sense?
Yeah.
Right. There's this concept which is like, whatever you put above you, when you put something on a pedestal, it's really hard for you to achieve that. But when you can bring it from up there to down here, it's like, why does a man look at a very pretty woman, or maybe vice versa, but let's just say man looks at a very pretty woman and he's like, oh my gosh, I could never get her. And he never does. Right? Because immediately he's already created this avatar of this person, of this other, the opposite sex, and he's put them on a pedestal up there. So naturally it's like way too high. But what happens is, when you're around people that are very successful, you're around business owners, entrepreneurs that are making things happen, in your brain, it just normalizes it, right? And that's what you want to do. You want to be able to normalize any level of success, whether it's 100 grand a year, 1 million, 10 million, 100 million, $1 billion. You want to normalize it, and you want to learn to not put things or people on a pedestal. It's great to be inspired by successful people, but you want to normalize it. So your brain is in a much more congruent way to create and do and build habits and routines that can almost automatically attract success. Does that make sense?
Yeah.
Because how many times have you ever met someone and they say, hey man, I bought the courses, I went to the seminars, I paid these gurus, this and that, and nothing has added up. And it's one of the reasons is because they put everything on a pedestal. So mentally they don't see themselves being there. Now what happens when you normalize these concepts, it becomes closer to your reality. And when it does, there's something in your brain called the RAS, the reticular activating system. That thing goes out in the world and starts seeking for validation points to bring your goals and your dreams much closer.
Yeah.
Does that make sense? So for me,
powerful stuff. Yeah.
So for me, what had happened was, I went to these seminars, I met these people, I was learning from them online, and I normalized they're no different than me. They're, like my insecurities, how my voice sounded, I've got big lips, I was overweight. Guess what? I met people like me and they were very rich, right? And I was like, wow. And I used to do, I've never really had a job in my life because I've always worked from home, always kind of did this internet marketing thing before. When I was younger, I used to sell on eBay when I was like 14, 15, 16 years old. Used to sell in the markets when I was like probably 13 or 14 years old. So I never really had a job, but the one job I did have was working for my dad's construction company for a few, I guess it was like 2 or 3 months. And very quickly I could see the guys that were making the most money, they had something which was a valuable skill. And that's why one of the things that I teach is building scalable income skills.
Yeah.
You've probably heard of high demand skills or highly paid skills. But I believe that the world's number one highest paid skill, the most scalable skill that you can develop, is actually being able to understand how sales funnels work, right? Because one sales funnels, which is literally a process of having a online website 2.0, basically. It's a website, but it's a simpler, easier version that takes a prospect to a paying stranger, right? That process is what we call sales funnels. And obviously you probably know what sales funnels are. It's revolutionized the whole industry as how people market and sell. You've made over $1 million because of the power of sales funnels. So what I'm getting at is when I was at that construction job, I could see there was a guy who was a carpenter. Now I used to do carpenting, and I used to just sweep the floors. I didn't really have anything else. Okay, so I used to sweep the floors. When I used to do painting, I was not that good. And there was a painter, there was a carpenter, there was a plumber, there was an electrician. And then there was one guy, I remember him very clearly, Koyas, tall guy. He had about 3, 4, 5 different skills. And he used to get paid more than everyone else, right? And I remember thinking, okay, the difference between everyone else here, even myself and him, is he's just got different skills. And what he's done is he's found, okay, what are the skills that will pay the most money? So I'm talking about the construction industry. Let's just say it's electrician, it's plumbing, let's just use those two. And what he's done is he's stacked those skills. You get it? And this is a big secret that I've discovered amongst meeting, interviewing, networking with over 100 millionaires and multiple billionaires, is that they've all mastered stacking skills, right? You wouldn't be a great marketer if you just knew how to make videos. You know how to make videos, and then you know how to advertise them so people can come and watch your videos. Right? That's called stacking skills. You're stacking your skills. And what I found is the more that you can stack your skills, the more valuable you become in the marketplace. And when you do that, it's almost like you become a magnet for opportunities, for money, for wealth creation, for coming up with equity deals, for doing partnerships, for doing joint ventures. Literally, people and opportunities just flood to you. And so when I understood this, and I'm doing this internet marketing stuff, I realized, holy smokes, because the first $1 million, I didn't even know how I did it, because it was maybe a little bit unconscious. But when I looked back, I could realize, hey, I started off and I didn't have the confidence to make videos like this. So guess what I did? I learned email marketing and I learned copywriting. So now I could send emails and get people to respond to me, and I could pick up the phone, I could make money. And the first time I tried to pick up the phone and make money, it was horrible. I had a horrible experience. But I said to myself, how do I learn how to close sales on the phone? And I went and bought all the trainings, all the books. There's a whole bunch of books behind me. There's a couple of bookshelves behind me. And I started studying the art of closing, how to build rapport, how to negotiate, how to use your tonality and body language. And then I learned how to sell on the phone. So now I had email marketing and I had on the phone sales. And I remember, it must have been my 3rd year, I had made multiple 6 figures just with those 2 skills. And then one mentor of mine, a guy called Brendan, he said, you need to start doing videos. And I was like, there's no way I'm doing videos. I don't even like the way I look at myself. No way, I can't do videos. And you can actually go to my YouTube channel, and there's a video of me that I did 10 years ago, when I was 21 or 22 years old, making $40,000 a month. That was 10 years ago. It's still there on my YouTube channel. I just leave it as a little reminder that I need to be making more YouTube videos. And so what happens is, I say, I'm not doing YouTube videos, but I learn how to do this thing called a webinar, where, you take the copywriting skills that you learn. It's a scalable income skill. You put it on a bunch of slides on Keynote or PowerPoint presentation, and then you just speak. And at the end of speaking, you can present an offer. And I just thought, that is the most insane thing ever. Now, at that time, I was also building my third scalable income skill, which was list building. So at the time, I had built a tiny little list. I think it was around maybe 6,000 or 7,000 people. I think it was around under 10,000 people. Okay, I made my first $1 million with just 10,000 subscribers. By the time I got to 20,000 subscribers, I think I did about $2.4 million. So what was the skill? The first one was email marketing. Then it was learning how to speak on the phone, sell on the phone. Then it was, what was the third one? You just talked about email marketing, phone sales, webinars, copywriting. Okay, copywriting, obviously, copywriting. And after copywriting, I turned the copy into webinars. But here's the thing, the first ever webinar I did completely bombed. And I said, I had like 6 people on it. And I was like, I'm never doing a webinar ever again in my life. This thing sucks. And I remember it was like supposed to be a 60-minute webinar. It was like 2.5 hours. And every other word from my mouth was, and my hands were sweaty. My forehead was sweaty. It was crazy. And I said, never again. And then I realized, okay, that's the hard thing, and I need to go and learn how to do the hard thing. So there I am. I still don't have the confidence because this webinar really, flopped. But then I discovered I can promote other people's webinar. And I never forget this day because the guy's name was John, and I remember John and Luke, I promote the webinar. And I was so nervous, right? And I basically put a bunch of people on the webinar, and I emailed a few times to my list. And in the first day, we made $58,000. And I was in Sydney, Australia. I had traveled from London to Sydney, Australia. And, this takes like a day to get there. When I was there, it was like 4 a.m. or 6 a.m. my time, something crazy times because the other guys were in America. And $58,000 came in. And I remember thinking, holy smokes, this is the most money ever in a single day. And they said, Shaq, you need to send the email replay. And I said, there's no way. People are going to be so mad. I ain't going to send no replay. And they said, no, you need to send the replay. So I said, okay, I'll send it once. The next day I send the replay and we make $50,000. I said, guys, you don't need to tell me. I'm going to email every single day. And I did. And for about 2 weeks, I sent an email every single day. And at the end, that campaign pulled over $321,000.
Wow.
And it was then I realized you don't have to work hard, you can work smart. But if you work hard and you work smart and you think hard, then you can get an unfair advantage over everyone else. And that's when I started realizing, what if I start getting good at webinars, right? At this time, I'm still overweight. I still have, all sorts of challenges. I'm still very insecure of how I sound, of how I look. I had like this long greasy hair and I didn't want to cut it because it was like part of my identity. And, I don't know, I could hide lots of things and I used to wear extra large clothing at all times. I was maybe a little bit socially awkward, to be very frank. And it was then I doubled down on what was working, which was webinars. And more important than just a webinar, I came across this concept of sales funnels. Back then, we never used to call it funnels. Okay, I used to actually call it guru funnels, right? Because I had, after making, maybe about $6 or $7 million, I asked myself, because after that, I started teaching people, right? I never used to teach. It was after about $6 or $7 million, I told my dad that I'm going to start teaching. He said, son, don't teach. You work very hard. Don't give away your secrets. I said, no, Dad, if I teach, I can create courses. I can make more. I can help more. And he says, okay, then just remember, you work very hard for this. So here I was, making a bunch of money. And I realized that the number one concept amongst every single person that made a lot of money was They all had an email list. They all had a landing page to collect opt-ins. They all would email their list. They all had their own products, and sometimes they'll promote affiliate products. And they would have all of this really optimized. And I came up with this product called Guru Funnels. Because I realized, and at the time I used to do affiliate marketing, and I was very fortunate to make millions and millions of dollars in commissions with affiliate marketing, promoting all sorts of different products and services. And I came to this realization that the reason why people don't succeed is because they don't understand how to build a real business that's unbreakable, that's pandemic proof, that's recession proof, that's crisis proof, that's based on who they are. They don't know how to build a real business because it's an industry filled with people that want to start a business but have no business experience. Does that make sense?
Yeah.
And I realized that was the biggest thing. So what if I educated everyone for free? And that webinar, oh my gosh, let me give you, is it cool if I share with you the stats?
Yeah, let's do it.
That webinar, now, talk to any decent experienced marketer that's making over 6 figures a month. If they make 100K or 500K a month, it's great. If they can make 100 grand in a day, that's great. But they don't do it consistently. Most marketers, most business owners will tell you the truth. That's the truth. I'm telling you this because I've had multiple $100,000 days. I do this webinar and I'm thinking, you know what? If I get 5 or 10 sales, I'm a happy camper, right? 100 grand, price point is 10 grand each. So I come on with the sole intention, I'm going to educate the entire marketplace, this small, tiny niche group of people, and I'm just going to share with them my secret and my findings. And I share that after traveling the world, this is what I've come to realize. And I named all the biggest gurus out there. And I told them, these gurus, they have this whole system in place. 1, 2, 3, 4, and there's basically 7 stages, 7 steps. You have them as well. I've gone through some of your stuff. I know every single person has it, right? Sometimes it's 3, sometimes it's 5. Usually it's around 7. The people that are making, I'd say $10 million and beyond, they all have the 7. Actually, the 7th stage, which I didn't share with you, was a live event model, a live event or a mastermind or a seminar or something in person. Does that make sense?
Yes.
So I discovered, okay, there's 7 stages and I'm just going to give it to everyone for free. And that's what I did. At the end, I said, this is how the gurus make money, you guys. If you want the shortcut, I'm taking on 30 people. It's not going to be a cheap program, but the program is going to be called Guru Funnels, okay? And I'm talking about, this was before ClickFunnels, by the way. So I was selling funnels way before ClickFunnels, right? 120 people come in.
You say at 10 grand?
10 grand. 120 people, full paid, no payment, none of this nonsense, this revenue, upcoming, no, cash collected, 120 people at 10 grand.
Wow.
And I was staying in my penthouse, not this one, my old penthouse, with a bunch of 2 guys that used to live with me. They used to work with me and they used to live with me. And I remember thinking, I just presented a concept. I did a webinar and I made $1.2 million. Okay. $1.2 million. Now that cash came in and I remember thinking to myself, this is the most money I've ever made. And by the way, at that time, the traffic was 0. Why? Because they came from my list. Right? So immediately I realized I have this skill for developing webinars. Even now, I get paid $35,000 to $60,000 to write a webinar script for someone, and not just cash, because cash doesn't make anyone rich. I get an equity. I get a piece of their business. You see how powerful that is?
Oh yeah.
I create a marketing system. I want the partner to make as much money as possible so we have a long-term relationship, because I've been in the game for the last 10 years, plan to stick around for another 10, 20 years. And I love what I do, right? Can you tell? I love this stuff, right? I just love this stuff. And I learned that I could come up with my own service. That's one. But what if I just double down on my webinar? That one product, we did have like 2-3 different variations. That product at 10K price point pulled in over $3 million cash. And I was like, this is dope. I was like, I remember looking at the net profit margin of each one. And I just thought, wow. Right? And I always ask myself, what's the biggest problem the market has and how can I go and serve them? And then I'll get paid. As I was doing this, I realized they had just bought the Guru Funnels package. Right? And at the time we used to use WordPress. I had a team in Europe, about 15, 20 guys, 15 to 18, sometimes 20, 25 people. And they would build out everything. Now, what I then realized was those same customers, they wanted something more. And that's when I released my mastermind program. And that was an immense, that was insanely successful. You have to understand, most of that money was also basically profits because I sold to the existing customers.
Yeah.
And that put me on the path to, 8 figures and the multiple 8 figures and beyond.
Yeah.
And through that, I learned, if you know how the power of sales funnels, if you understand and you commit to learning a few skills, some of these skills you can learn in 30 days, in 7 days, in 21 days, an hour a day, right? An hour a day keeps the doctor away, keeps the job away, an hour a day, right? I go to the gym an hour a day, right? I work on my business minimum an hour a day because I want to keep that job away. I never want to get a job. Yeah. Right? So I'm making sure if you can spend an hour a day on building your skills, then you inherently become a more valuable person in the marketplace. And the marketplace will pay you based on the value that you have and how you leverage that value. Right? Because you can have a lot of value. You can read all the books in the world. But if you don't know how to share that value, right, then it ain't gonna work because there's no leverage. Right? It's like the person that spends so much time. Like I used to do lots of events, right? Now we do lots of virtual events and virtual masterminds and stuff. But back then I used to do lots of live events, seminars all over the world. I had built a huge team of people, 55 staff members. They'd go all over the world and sell my products and services for me. And that's one of the reasons why I scaled to $1 million a month at the age of 28. One of the things I found when I was doing these live events is that very, very smart people would come in. I remember having a doctor come in, experienced doctor who comes in and he says to me, Shaq, I've been looking for a guy like you for ages. And I said, what's going on? He said, I've been inventing something. So the next day he comes in with his invention and it's like, he opens it up. I can't even remember what it looks like, but it was just like this blob of, like a Hoover component. I said, what is that? And he's like, if you put this in any car, it's going to reduce the carbon emissions by this much. And then he's like, and then he shows me like this much papers, him and his wife, poor wife, carried to my event. It was in London. And I'm like, what are those papers? Because I ain't going to spend time going through these papers, okay? I'm just not. I've got people in my seminar. I ain't going to make. And he's like, oh, those are the patents. I own the patents. And I was like, wow, this is really cool. And I said, well, tell me about the sales. Like, I'm thinking he's going to say, Shaq, he's got 100 grand in sales, he's got 1 million in sales, and now he wants to change the world. He's like, no, I haven't sold any. I'm like, well, what are you doing? Oh, I've been looking for someone like you for you to go and sell. And I'm like, I ain't going to sell this. But that's how most business owners are. They think that they got the greatest product or they got the greatest website and it's just going to come to them, right? They're just going to start making money. But it doesn't work like that. You have to learn the scalable income skills. You have to learn how to get traffic, how to get people to come to you. You have to discover and understand what makes people buy, right? How do you, if you don't like selling, then you need a sales funnel that will do the selling, telling, convincing for you. And once you set it up, it's almost like a residual income stream that just keeps paying. Does that make sense?
Yeah.
And a lot of the times people will say, Shaq, how did you even crack this? How did you even get into this, right? Like before that, what's the mentality? Well, the truth of the matter is, as much as I've spent over $500,000 on mentors and coaches and masterminds and seminars, and they're great, I'm very grateful for all of them. My biggest business mentor in life has and is my dad. And let me explain. When I was around 14, 15, 16 years old, he would take me around his friends' properties, or he would take me around his properties. And he would say to me, son, the goal is if you buy one property, you get passive income. You put 4, 2 people, 6 people in there, now you're getting rent from these people. If you buy 2 houses, now you get double. The more houses you can get, the more passive income you can get. Now, when I was 18, I thought my dad would just hand me everything, right? I thought that's what dads do. In his case, he said, no, son, now you're 18, you're an adult, go and make your own money. To which I was very shocked and maybe a little bit upset for a little while. And then I said, okay, I'm going to go prove to myself and to my dad and to everyone that I'm going to go and figure this stuff out. So I took that concept of if a property equals passive income, but in a property, it doesn't matter how big the property is, you can't put 5,000 people in there. You can't put 50,000 people in a house and get 50,000 people's rent unless you own some big apartment or some hotel, right?
Right.
But on the internet, you can. What if you created tiny little, kind of like cash machines that once you are able to build it, or once you are able to get it built for you, you can send as many people as you can, and on the other side, you make money. And I thought, wow, because I'm not that technical, right? I don't know how to, I have Facebook ads, I have YouTube ads running for me, but I don't know how to do any of these things. I don't know how to edit videos. I don't even log into my own autoresponder to send an email. Like I am the non-techie person. Like I've been selling funnels for now nearly a decade. I don't know how to build a funnel, right? And who says you need to do that? You don't need to, right? You can just market it. And so what happened was I came to this realization that instead of doing property business, what if I just did it digital property, like building digital assets?
Right.
Till this day, now praise God, all praise to God. Till this day, I literally get paid from work that I've done 5, 6, 7, even 10 years ago.
Yeah.
Right? There's affiliate commissions, there's referrals, people coming in from here, there, they're coming into my website, into my funnels.com, into, wealthacademy.com. And some of these things, some of these assets are years and years old. Whew. Anyway, that was a...
No, that's so incredible. Yeah. So I wanted to see if it's all right with you if you do talk a little bit about the process of what that kind of framework looks like. And I know it's just for a little bit. And before we do that, I do want to preface, if people want to go in with you and dive deep with you, they can go to funnels.com/10x. And if you want to talk even a little bit about that and what they can expect to see.
Yeah, actually, I usually don't do any sort of things like this, but I saw your user base, your customers, and the fact that you've built an amazing community. And you said one of the things is that they're challenging to get to their first 10K per month. And some of them, even if you're at 10K per month, how do you scale that to 100K per month? Using systems, using basically online instead of with your physical hands, with you being in person, right? How do you do it virtually? How do you transition from offline to online? How do you go from chasing customers, doing one-on-one, relying on referrals, to building automated income streams online? And when you said that to me, we had that discussion, right? When you said that to me, Shaq, how can you hook my people up? I said, hey, funnels.com/10K. So it's actually the number 10 and then K. And if you go 10K. There, 10K, funnels.com/10K, you'll be taken to a very special page that's only for your members. And in that page, you'll be invited to take part in a 5-day challenge, right? And this is not one of those, I mean, you've gone through the challenge, right? You became a customer, client of mine.
Oh, yeah.
Why don't you share your experience?
Yeah.
And how you even found me?
Yeah. So I found you from an ad for the challenge, and I ended up signing up. And yes, I've been through the challenge, and basically what people are going to find in there is the framework for what he's been talking about this whole time, the funnels, but then how to scale that, how to take a skill set, which is that's what I talk about here with my audience too, is if you're gonna spend time and effort and basically a portion of your life getting good at something, get good at a skill set that the income can be unlimited and create a life. Because I see people all around me in my home life, like my friends, my family, people that I know, they're working so hard at things. And I think, do they actually think about the long run of what if they were successful? What does that look like? And so I came through your challenge, and I'm looking at this, and it's about developing a skill set of what you're talking about, these funnels. And first of all, I'm like, man, this stuff is worth so much more than what it's listed for. But yeah, it just made me change the way that I think of how I'm going to be structuring my business. And it's tons of value in there and worksheets, and it's awesome.
Yeah, I appreciate that feedback very much. We were initially going to sell this program for $3,000 to $5,000, because basically almost everything that I sell starts at $3,000, $10,000, $20,000 and beyond. But then the pandemic hit, and people started writing in, Shaq, we want to work with you. We want to work with you. I mean, over the years, I've had over 7,000 applications to work with me. That's a lot.
Yeah.
Right. It's very few people and being humbly saying this, very few people in the entire industry can say that. I've generated more than 7,000 applications and booked calls for people wanting to work with us. And one of the main things that we found is people don't have literally tens of thousands of dollars to start a business, right? They want to start a business, but they don't have hundreds of thousands of dollars cash, or they don't have tens of thousands of dollars cash. And even if they have it, they don't have the confidence in themselves to invest, right? That's one. Number two is almost, I would say 80 to 90% of the people want to make an extra 10 grand per month. So I said, well, what if I create a program and we sell it for 3 to 5 grand, and we show people how to make $10,000 a month? It's pretty good, learn how to make 100 grand a year, just invest 3 to 5 grand. And then the pandemic hit, and I thought, you know what? What if I just turn it into a fun challenge, and I just do it for a no-brainer for like a couple of $100, right? A couple of $100. And so far we've had I think we're approaching maybe 700-800 people in that challenge right now. And what I've decided for your people is they can come in. If you go to funnels.com/10x, you can literally start, you can literally 10K.
Sorry.
10K. Even if you go to 10x, it's going to take you to the same page. You're going to be able to get the entire program for literally just one payment of $50. $50. And listen, it's a no-brainer. Look, if you don't love it and you don't think it's worth 10 times, 100 times, you can keep the program and we'll just give you a refund. Okay, because I want to give as much value as possible, right? And I don't usually sell low ticket programs. So if you go to funnels.com/10K, you're going to be able to get the entire 5-day challenge. Literally the same thing that Nathan, a millionaire with nearly 400,000 subscribers on YouTube, is going through. You can get the same materials that he's so excited. Now he messaged me and said, this is worth a lot of money. And I'm like, dude, I plan to sell it for $5,000. But during this time, right now, you can get it for just $50. Okay, so I don't need to pitch it hard. If you're serious about creating a scalable income scale, taking advantage of this wave of opportunity that's in front of digital marketing, placing ads on the internet, using funnels to replace your job, create a new income stream, build security, weather storms, the pandemic, the recession, the COVID crash, whatever you want to call it. Go to funnels.com/10K. Right now, some of the methods and traffic tactics, because people say to me, okay, can you give us a traffic tactic? And I'm going to I'll give you two. How's that? Is that cool? Is that cool with you?
That's perfect.
Yeah. I'll give you two that has made me millions of dollars, not in gross, not in sales, not in revenue that's going to come in 6 months, in profits. Okay? Would that be valuable, Nathan?
Oh yeah, big time.
Okay.
Let's do it. Oh yeah.
All right. So the number one thing that you want to identify is, what is a business model that you want to use? Whether it's affiliate marketing, high ticket marketing, it's coaching and consulting, it's digital marketing agency, it's e-commerce. By the way, we have extensive trainings in every single one of these areas, but let me just walk you through what you do. First, you identify your business model, right? Your profits, your pricing, and who's a mentor that's already done that you can learn from. Second is, you want to identify who is your best buyer, right? And not just identify, as in, my best buyer is someone who's at this stage and they like this and they just like this and they read Tony Robbins and Robert Kiyosaki and they follow Nathan on YouTube and they follow, Brennan Bouchard or Tony Robbins or whoever, right? You come up with a customer avatar. And then this is the question that just almost no one asks. And I started asking this nearly 10 years ago. It changed my life forever. Changed my business forever. It changes my clients that pay me $50,000 or $100,000 for personal one-on-one time. It changes their business forever. And this is what you want to ask yourself. Who already has my best buyers? Right? Who already has my best buyers? So when I was getting started and I was selling how to do digital marketing on the internet, how to place ads, I discovered a tiny little, jokingly, a rather large database on the internet called ClickBank. Now you can call it a marketplace, all of this. I don't care what terminology you use. I'm very straight, black and white guy. I call it a database. It's a huge database with over 100,000 product people with products. They've worked years. They've built the sales pages. They've built the landing pages. They've built the funnels. They've tested it out, blah, blah, blah. And now what they've done is they've put all of their products on ClickBank. Now you could go to clickbank.com right now. You could go on the marketplace. You could choose any niche. Doesn't matter if it's gardening, if it's digital marketing, is losing weight, love and relationships. You go and find the top 5 to 10 people that have got the best selling products. Is this making sense?
Yes.
It's like we are going and finding who's already selling the best products. And then what we want to do is we want to go, and there's going to be a page that says JV information or contact information. We want to contact those people and we want to build a relationship with them. Why? Because as you're building a product, as you're building a service, or you're selling someone else's service, you can now go and tap into red hot, hungry, proven buyers. And guess what? Sometimes you can pay them. Sometimes you can do it for free by partnering up with them. Sometimes you can pay them a little bit of money. Okay, this is, by the way, I've given you the theory. Did that make sense, Nathan? Is this clear?
Absolutely.
100%? Yep. Okay, simple. Now I'm going to talk about my own result, what I did. At the time, I didn't have a lot of money. I went to my dad. I begged and borrowed from him $5,000 cash. And I utilized this strategy that I'm sharing with you. And I had a guy that promoted a product. And it wasn't even my product, by the way. If you enroll in funnels.com/10K, well, I'm going to show you how to even do affiliate marketing at a high level. Almost no one teaches you, right? Because they can't, because they don't have the results I have. Does that make sense? Right? Is that making sense, Nathan? And so what would happen is this guy sends an email to his huge list, 100,000 subscribers. Okay, just to put things in context, Nathan, at the time, I think I had around 850 subscribers. So you can imagine what happened. I'll tell you what happened. In a span of 3 months, I made $72,000. $5,000 spent, $72,000 in ROI.
That's awesome.
Guess what I've been doing for the last 10 years? The same thing. The same thing. It requires no long learning curve. It requires no technical skills. It requires you not to be too smart, right? I don't see myself as too smart. I dropped out of university in my final year, right? If you went to school with me or college or university, you'd be like, that guy Shaq? No way. I was anything but a guy with a bright future. Does that make sense?
Yeah.
Here I was being able to turn a tiny little $5,000 into over $72,000. I kept some money for myself, and then I just reinvested it until one day I woke up and I was $1.2 million richer. And now looking back, I was like, I could go learn 101 things, but what if I just discovered the fundamentals? And that $1 million turned into 5, that 5 turned into 10, that 10 turned into $30 million before I turned 30. That's a lot more now, but I prefer not to talk about my income these days. So that's a great story. $30 million before 30. What? How? Using the power of digital assets and the power of sales funnels.
Yeah, that's awesome.
So
yeah. Hey, if you guys are getting value, drop a comment down below and be sure to hit the thumbs up on this video. We got some awesome value going on here.
Like this is traffic tactic 1. I explained how to do it, gave you a real life example of myself. The second traffic tactic that I want to give to you guys, I want to just give it to you straight right now, is, and you can do this right now, today, okay? I can't even explain to you how powerful this is. I literally just did this, okay? And yesterday night, okay, less than 24 hours ago, I had a client that paid £15,000 for one of my digital programs, okay? £15,000 works out to be, for my American friends and non-UK, non-EU people, it's about $19,000 cash, okay? Nathan, should I give them that or should we just end it now?
Yeah, have a good day, guys. No.
Yeah, I think that's the one we should charge $3,000 for, right? I mean, just made me $19,000 in the last 24 hours.
Yeah.
So I'm gonna give it to you because I want to add immense value to your people. By the way, if you're getting some great value, make sure you hear us out in the comments. I'm gonna be reading those comments myself. The second tactic that anyone can do, regardless of your experience, your expertise, you don't have no money, you have a lot of money, you have no product, you have a product, doesn't matter. And this is whatever niche you're in. It might be lose weight and get healthy. It might be love and relationships. It might be wealth creation, digital marketing, make money on the internet, whatever. Those are the 3 big niches. You want to first, obviously, know which one that you're going to target. And then what you want to do is list out at least 20 Facebook groups, okay? And how you're going to do that is, let's just say you were interested in learning about funnels or learning about affiliate marketing. You'd go in the Facebook search bar and you would type in funnels. You would type in affiliate marketing. And now you'll have literally dozens and dozens, sometimes even hundreds of Facebook groups that people have spent money, time, years, capital, resources to build. And they have been posting there. For example, my Facebook group has now over 17,000 members. And I've been building that thing for maybe the last 8 or 9 years. You can find groups like mine. You can find groups that already has your potential customers. And here's what you can do. 1, you can ask the owner of the group, just send them a message and say, hey, I've got a piece of value, piece of wisdom, something that I want to share. And you can go and share a valuable post in that Facebook group and just watch what happens. I promise you, if you do nothing today, but you just did that, and you did maybe 2 or 3 groups, Now, if there's rules of the groups, abide them. Most groups, you can go and post a valuable post. Watch what will happen. People will start reaching out to you. People will start liking. People will start commenting. People will start looking at you as an expert, as an authority, as someone with credibility. Does that make sense? In today's day and age, if you want to win in the marketplace, you got to do these things. Okay. Now, I'm a paid traffic guy. Okay. So I like to spend $1 to make 5 or 10 or 20 back. That's been my thing. I spent a few $1 million on ads, made over $30 million in sales. Okay. Now, when some people are starting out, they don't have the experience to, or the time, or the money to go and learn Facebook ads and YouTube ads and LinkedIn ads and Instagram ads. So this is a no-brainer. You can literally do this, 10 minutes, come up with 10 different groups, spend another 20, 30 minutes, write a nice big post, and you can literally go and post in these groups and you can start connecting.
I literally know a handful of people personally who have used the strategy you're sharing right now. Actually, because not that many people know about it, and they're 10K plus in a short period of time.
Well, think about it. I did this, right? I did this same thing that I'm sharing with you. Yesterday, the guy comes along and he says, I want to buy your programs. I said, well, to work with me, I have a 15K program or a 50K program. I'm like, what do you want? He's like, well, I can do the 15K, right? $15,000, $19,000. One client comes in, boom. Why? Because the way I've structured it with the funnels, all right, this is the kind of stuff that we go into much more detail. I do demonstrations, I do walkthroughs, I show you the scripts that I'm personally using. Make sure you go to funnels.com/10K and you need to grab your spot. It's like kind of ridiculous. But I got to say it because you got to hear it at least 3 times, right? Funnels.com/10K. You say it, Nathan.
Funnels.com/10K. Go there now. You won't regret it.
Yeah. So
awesome.
So here's the thing. Now you start having people reach out to you. Okay, so that's the overall strategy. Another thing that you can do is Facebook allows you to send 50 to 60 friend requests. And what you can do is literally go into your target groups and connect with 50 to 60 people a day. It's going to take you literally less than 1 hour. Okay, and you're now able to build your Facebook list. Remember in the start of this presentation, in this YouTube video, in this masterclass, this is like a masterclass that I'm presenting here. In the start, I shared with you how you can have the 7 steps of the Google funnels. One of the main keys is having a list. Almost every single person that you know that makes any money, 10,000, 50,000, 100,000 a month and beyond, even guys like Nathan, I'll tell you right now, they all have a list. My question to you is, where's your list? Where's your list? And you might say, oh, I don't have the money, I don't have this. That's fine. I'm giving you a free, instant, tactical advantage right now. But if you do it in an hour a day, at the end of the month, you can get your 5,000 people on your Facebook. That's your Facebook list. You can take at least 1,000, maybe even 2,000 of them into your email list. If you do that, on average, if you made $1 to say $3 per subscriber, that's an extra $1,000 to about $3,000 per month just using this one tactic. Was that powerful, Nathan?
Oh yeah. Yeah, that's awesome. It's just when people actually do it and start getting results, that's the thing, is you guys got to take action. I mean, you know what I mean? You got to walk away from this and have a game plan. And really that game plan is at funnels.com/10K.
Funnels.com/10K. I would say more than 3 times. Make sure you go there. Again, this is a special thing that I'm doing just for Nathan's people here. So Nathan, let me know if you have any other questions, because this has been an absolute blast, my friend.
Yes. No, I really appreciate it. And I know that people are definitely going to get value out of this. I mean, even the free stuff that you just shared, those last 2 things, very powerful. People can absolutely get results in their business. So I really appreciate that. And I appreciate what you're doing for my audience. So I should be able to link that below as well for people to work more closely with you. It's such a small investment. It's really a no-brainer to not get started. That's why I'm in it. I'm personally in it, and I can vouch for the training in there. It's just killer. So Shaq, I appreciate you. Thank you so much for coming on here and sharing your wisdom and knowledge with everybody. And I look forward to doing this again.
Absolutely, man. Thank you so much for having me. God bless you guys. Speak to you soon.